know, they have a tablet they can use, but the tablet, the reception is incredibly poor. And so we have dropped calls, we're calling back, he's calling back. It's frustrating. It's a waste of time and money.
Yeah.
Frankly, our money.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are charged for the calls that we make. He's charged for the time on the tablet.
And I think, Ashley, you did forward some information. I did have somebody contact via email about that who has indicated, yes, unfortunately, she said the reception in the cells is just poor. And so, you know, we're just dealing with a lot of changes that are very stressful to everybody. And, you know, we just really want to know if this is a permanent protocol. I guess Colonel West can perhaps address that, or what can be done. And the other thing is there's really very little recreation time. I think, you know, they rarely get outside, and there's no other place to exercise or anything. So, was there other things?
So those are the big things. I think, you know, exercise, being able to get outside. I don't know if you get outside much at all, but the fact that when you're locked down for 19 hours a day versus, it makes it pretty tough. I was trying to bring up the letter I sent you guys, sorry. Bring up, you know, to be able to exercise. You know, it's an unhealthy environment, sort of more or less, being locked in that long. It heightens depression and anxiety, not just for our son, but for everybody, I think, that's locked in there. I think it makes it tough on them to be locked down for that many hours a day. You know, so it's really this, not only is it hard to exercise, hard to communicate, hard to be able to get at least books that you want to have a chance to be able to read, and then communicate with us. It seems like it's not a very good choice for the protocol that we're going through. We're just curious, is this permanent? Is this a temporary thing? Is this a trial kind of thing? I mean, what was the impetus for the big change in the protocol from what it used to be to what it is now that Superintendent West is in that role? Because that sort of seems like that's when the change sort of came. And so we're wondering what happened between the previous supervisor and the current supervisor, what were the reasons for this change?
And when we send out information, we do try to communicate. We do try to send out information. We never get a response back.
Yeah, we try to follow protocol. We're not sure what the protocol is. We sent all the stuff into Ashley because we can't send it directly to Superintendent West.
That's also another change. Nothing can be left directly.
We're sort of in a situation where we're thinking everything gets phoned in. We're hoping we don't get a response back like, hey, been received, reading it, thank you for the input. We don't hear anything, so we don't know if it's even being funneled through. We trust Ashley to get it through, but we don't.
Ashley has been good about that. It's just frustrating not to.
We just don't know, and so, you know, we're sitting around waiting for a response, even if it's just, hey, thanks for your input, you know, but we don't know. And this is the first time we've had a chance to talk to anybody about this in this form.
Well, first, thank you for coming and sharing the information with us. Superintendent, will you get their number and give them a call and explain the new procedure and why you're doing that? Okay, sir. If you're not satisfied with the superintendent's response, all right, I'll give you my number. You can call me and see what we can work out if you're not satisfied, all right?
I'll take your number.
Good, good. My office number will be 703-792-6070. All right, man?
And our number should be on
the information. Superintendent said he has your information. All right? You will get a response from him. And like I say, if you're not satisfied with his response, please call me.
Great.
All right. Thank you. All right. We also have some other visitors with us today. They want to address the jail board. All right. You first, sir.
Yes, sir.
Please give us your name and where you live.
My name is Zach Murphy. I live in Old Town Manassas. I didn't know the forum here, so this might be a little awkward. I wrote this out, so I put a lot of time in it, so I'm gonna read it.
Okay.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Zach Murphy. I live in Old Town Manassas, where my wife runs a small business. We started at the farmers market, grew our shop right in the heart of this community. I'm a Navy veteran, a father. I grew up in Point of Woods and graduated from Osborne. I traveled the world, lived overseas, and even volunteered in countries that are less fortunate than us. Today, when I'm not working, I spend much of my free time picking up trash, building community gardens, and due to funding constraints, finding ways to clean up our city so people can take pride where they live. I'm not MAGA. I believe the United States is the greatest social experiment humanity has ever attempted. Is it perfect? Nope. Do we have a lot of work to do? Of course. Do we need to make it great again? No. It's great, and it will continue to be great because we have freedom to speak our minds and to hold our leaders accountable. And because the men and women who take oaths to serve and protect and who show up every day to honor that commitment. But the reality is, it's getting harder to feel proud or safe in my hometown. We had an abduction of a child near Mayfield, the rape of a child in the parking garage, and most recently, an abduction and sexual assault in front of Osborne. All these areas can be seen from the top floor of City Hall, within walking distance of 4 public schools and a private school. I've had 3 break-in attempts, a drunk driver crashed on my house, and another in the school buses across the street. I've had to paint over gang graffiti on playgrounds, and I still have graffiti on my retaining wall. This isn't normal, and it's bad for business. Like many others in Old Town, we've seen a noticeable decline in foot traffic and sales since 2020. When crime rises, confidence falls. When crime rises, confidence falls. And yet, we hear silence from our leaders. Behind my house, people with no fixed address sleep in the woods. We don't know who they are. Are they struggling with addiction? Are they dangerous? Are they sex offenders? Been told they are. My neighbors and I are trying to raise our kids safely, and we're tired of being told we don't have a crime problem, when all we're asking for is basic protection and accountability. As members of the jail board, you have a serious responsibility not just to detainees, but to the citizens who depend on you to enforce the law, maintain safety, and cooperate fully with any state or federal agencies trying to make our country and communities safer. That includes ICE. It's time to stop turning a blind eye to repeat offenders, to individuals who are here illegally, who commit crimes, and to those who come to Manassas for court hearings and simply never leave. Very few of the people cycling through our jail system are not Manassas City residents, but they are absolutely impacting our safety as city residents. We are not second-class citizens. The families of the city of Manassas are the ones who pay taxes, follow the law, start businesses, and give back to our community. We deserve the same level of protection as those everybody says they're trying to protect. I served my country and kept my oath. What we're asking is for everybody else to do the same. I'm asking you to keep yours on your immigration notification policy, which cover the vast majority of the crimes I've outlined and are happening in our backyard. Yes, expand, I'm sorry. And I ask you to support the proposal that the GOP is presenting. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate y'all's service. Truly do. Thank you.
Next speaker?
Pull my notes out here. I submitted a letter in writing that I'm hoping you all received earlier, so I don't want to reread the letter. But my name is Kenny Loveless. I'm a 51-year, I guess now, resident of the city of Manassas, a local business person. So I've watched a lot of changes in the city throughout the years, and some good and some still works in progress. So, but Sheriff Hill, I particularly want to thank you for allowing us to speak tonight, and again, gratitude to everybody that serves on this board. And I'm not here to talk politics. I'm here to just talk from my heart about what's going on. I know that everybody in this room, you wouldn't be here if you didn't care deeply about the community. But because of that deep care that you have, I'm confused about our lack of cooperation with federal authorities. And so obviously I'm here to support also what Zach has talked about. We all, every day, I'm skipping a page, I don't want to do that. Probably nobody in the county or in the city right now holds the trust of the community in their hands any greater than you all do. And so when that trust starts to break down, I think it starts to lead to other problems. And so I ask all of you to do everything that you can to make sure that your positions and that trust is reinstated in the city and that people understand why you make the decisions that you do. Every day we're all subject to seeing these terrible, terrible headlines of horrendous crimes happening in the community, in the city, in the county. rapes, gang offenses, drug offenses. It's just really, we all know what's going on. And yet the individuals that are probably most affected by those crimes are the individuals that actually have the fewest resources to combat them. A lot of that gang activity seems to be gang on gang, seems to be preying on innocent people within our community. So I'm hoping that my position comes across. I can protect myself, I can protect my family, but there's a lot in our community that don't have that same opportunity, same ability. Is cooperating with federal authorities about rounding people up? I say no. Is it about breaking up families? I say no. It's simply about keeping those criminals that are already in our system out of our system. Don't let them cycle back through the neighborhoods, commit crimes again, and end up back in the system one more time. Let's use the tool that we have in the toolbox to make sure that that cycle stops. You know, are we being, when we have leniency, are we being kind or are we being neglectful? And obviously that's personal decisions. But again, I plead that the people that really need your protection the most are the ones that have the least resources to do anything about it. So I'm pleading with you, I'm begging with you, please revisit the position that the Manassas City GOP has taken. We think it's a moderate position. We're just asking you to take a look at some of these horrendous Class 1 misdemeanors that probably merit a little deeper attention than releasing someone back into our system. So thank you so much.
Right, thank you, sir. Next speaker.
Yeah, thank you guys again for the time today. My name is Ben Walters. I also live in Old Town Manassas on Grant Avenue. Let me just start. I'm not here to support 287G or to talk about 287G. We understand that tensions are high. What we're here to do is simply just to raise awareness around a serious problem and to offer a constructive solution. According to ICE data, now I'm not sure if you guys all received that or not. I can pass that. Did you guys receive that? Okay. I have some copies as well, but according to ICE data that we obtained, the ADC now ranks amongst the top 25 facilities in the United States for detainers declined for what ICE calls deported criminal aliens. This has happened 174 times since 2022, and these are some heinous crimes. Just looking down the list, you'll find individuals on there that have committed sexual assault, domestic violence, child abuse, gun violence, you name it. There's even a homicide on there. Many of these are violent felonies, and that brings me into your immigration notification policy. It was my understanding that the policy says the jail will notify ICE if a person is charged or convicted of a felony. So something's not lining up, and I want to give you the benefit of the doubt. So is it possible that the jail is notifying ICE, but ICE isn't following through and coming and picking up that individual? That could very certainly be the case. But as a private citizen, I can't just pick up the phone and check with ICE and try to figure out what the issue is or what the disconnect is. So that's why I'm here, to speak with you all. Many of you are my local leaders. Some of you are my elected leaders. And that's what motivated the letter that you guys all received as well from the Manassas GOP. There were months of thoughtful consideration, thoughtful deliberation that went into that, a lot of research, a lot of talking to folks, wonderful conversations with Sheriff Hill. Please consider strengthening that policy, expanding that policy to include ICE notifications for those Class 1 misdemeanors and sex offenses as well, sex offenders as well, if you're on a state or federal registry. ultimately, if you're not releasing violent criminals here illegally to ICE, you're releasing them into the city of Manassas. And that's that's the point we're trying to get across today. And our second key message we're trying to get across is, we know many of you care deeply for these vulnerable immigrant communities, and that's why we're here too. That's why I'm here. We're not here to protest. We're not here to be a thorn in your side. We're here ultimately to partner with you. We want to protect these communities as much as you do. Right now they're being terrorized and exploited by these violent gangs, by human traffickers, by those who prey on the vulnerable. So we want to work with you on that issue. And again, thank you guys all so much for your time today. And here's some copies just in case.
All right. Thank you, sir.
I'll just leave them right here.
All right, thank you, sir. Well, I want to thank all the speakers for coming tonight. Some more comments, and as I mentioned, the superintendent will be in contact with you, all right?
Great.
So thank you so much. Thank you. So I get a motion to approve the agenda for July the 16th?
So
Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Would you let the record reflect that Ms. Guzman is here? Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Guzman, for coming to the meeting today.
Oh, thank you. Traffic, Mr. Chairman from Alexandria.
Could I get a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting that was held on May 21st, 2025?
So moved.
Second.
Second? Right. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
I have to abstain. Ms. Ashworth is here.
Okay. Superintendent?
Yes, sir.
Report, please.
Yep, if we can all turn to page 22.
Thank you. All right.
Operational capacity is 871. Management capacity is 1320. Our average daily population for the past 12 months was 554. Inmates transferred to the state system. May, it was 5. June, it was 16. Commits, May was 672. June was 627. Our releases, May was 659. June was 655. Inmates that was processed only but not committed, May was 36 and June was 53. We can turn over to the next page. My average daily population in May was 534. The high count was May 18th at 554. Next page for June. June is our average daily population was 533, and the high count was on June 11th at 559. We go to page 26. Go to our objectives. Our recruitment and hiring initiatives. Like once again, I always talk about some of the websites that we on. Governmentjobs.com, Facebook.com, Salary.com, Monster.com, Indeed.com, LinkedIn.com, ZipRecruiter.com, Handshake, and Glassdoor. We recently, for the month of June and July, we rented a kiosk in Spotsylvania Mall, and the traffic has been received well. We're doing a lot of business out there, a lot of applications. We also advertised on 4 radio stations in the Fredericksburg, Stafford, and part of the Prince William region. We was on B01, B101.5, 93.2, 99.3, 96.9, and 99.3. So we really invest in trying to find folks and trying to get people in the door. Objective number 2, we had 3 unfounded sexual harassments and 2 that was substantiated. Objective 3, we didn't have a lot going on with some career training or development, but we did meeting with the medical staff They wanted some type of self-defense class, so our training department held a self-defense class for 20 of our medical staff. Objective number 4, talking about the lobby project. Staff construction should be starting on August 11th. They ordered a bunch of supplies and materials, so hopefully they get started. The jail annex, the staff has been moved over to the Piedmont building. That's our training department and internal affairs. We will be relinquishing the jail annex to the county on August the 1st, and they should be working on sometime this fall to tear it down. Objective number 5, we have, since October of 21, we have gave out 859 Narcan boxes. We currently have 71 inmates on our JMAT program. We also partner with CS. CS went out and wrote a HIDA grant to find 2 peers that's going to work with our CS and our JMAT folks that's on the program. We want to make sure that we do proper case management and make sure that when they get out, they have the services to support their addiction and can get services from CS or George Mason. If you go to, and that should be, they're going to start advertising for those positions here in the next few weeks. Go to page 28. Going over 530. Going to the next page, we're talking about the buildings. The central building remains stable with an average population of 364. The main building average was 156. Work release population was 9. Work release is temporarily closed as of June 25. The Marja building is still closed. If you go to the next page, page 30, the monthly transfers for the DOC is for this quarter. March was 9, April was 13, May was 5, June was 16. Next page 32. The average number of commitments for fiscal year 25 was 621. A lot of times we talk about like our average daily population count being so low, but if you look over the years from 20, 21, and 22, our commitments has increased. So we still have a large workload on us, especially with the booking staff. A lot of these people are coming in and going to arraignment and getting released. So we still are doing a lot of work, and the commitments has been increasing over the years. If you go to page 33, our average daily population for fiscal year 25 is 545. That's all we have for the clerk report. I got a few comments. As I mentioned in a previous board meeting, that the county was looking at our vacancies, 270 days or more. When I took over as superintendent, we had 30 vacancies that had over 270 days or more. As of right now, we have 8. 5 sworn and 3 are civilians. So we've been actively trying to recruit folks and get people in the building. We have 96 active applicants in process, either in medical background, polygraph, somewhere. So with that number, sometimes people fall through the cracks, but we are trying to find folks. When I started, we had 88 vacancies. Now we have 61. So we're down 27 in the last 4 months. So the HR team, Captain Cortez and his folks have been doing an outstanding job. We're trying to recruit folks and staying active with that. Our next academy should be full. We can have 30 in the building. We should have 30 folks. Everything goes well. We are looking, potentially, everything goes well, but we might run 2 academies at the same time. But we don't know that yet, so we have to see what happens. Lastly, I want our agency to be an organization that gives back to the community. So we got to get our staffing levels up before we start doing a lot of that stuff. But next month, we're going to start, Barnes & Noble has a story time for little kids. I'm going to start having officers go over there twice a month to read to little kids. Just to show the face of the agency. People don't know about jails and the good work that we do. You know, they think the individuals get incarcerated, we abuse them, we don't take care of them. It's a lot of work that we do. So I want to change that image about with the citizens in Prince William County, how they see us and the work that we do. So that's just one thing that we'll be doing. Also, I promised when I got hired that I would increase our internship program to have different avenues of recruitment. Today we have 4 of the interns that's working this summer. We actually have 2 interns that are in the process that potentially are applying here. I am going to have one of the interns speak up and take just a minute to talk about your experience and why do you decide to apply here.
Hello, good morning, and good evening, everyone. My name is Mansour Yahya. I am from Herndon, Virginia. I go to George Mason University. I'm a senior there studying criminology, law and society. The reason why I interned here in Prince William, because I saw the opportunity, the flexibility and the opportunity that works for my schedule. And the reason why I wanted to serve here is because I want to make a difference in my community and give back. I learned a lot firsthand experience about what our staffing do, and I really appreciate learning from them hands-on. I do appreciate their integrity, their professionalism, and also their support of teaching me how to become hopefully a future jail officer. Thank you, Colonel West, for having me to speak today, and I look forward to continue on with the process and give back to the community, and really appreciate you guys being here today.
Thank you. I believe that is all I have on my agenda. Do you have any questions for me, sir?
Any questions for the superintendent?
I have a question going back to the rape, PREA. Those 2 substantiated findings, can you tell me a little bit about them?
About the cases?
The cases themselves? What happened, if you recall?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I recall one.
And every time that you bring substantiated cases, I will ask you the same.
Yeah. Chopper, do you remember? On your watch.
I know because they were substantiated, after the investigation, they were separated, keep separate as kept, put on them, and that way they won't run into each other in the building.
Yeah.
I know that much, but I can't the details of it.
Okay, you can answer that question next time when we meet. No problem.
Okay. I will.
That's the only question.
Yeah, it was more of a harassment. It wasn't a rape case or anything like that. Yeah.
It was between inmates.
Yes.
And there, rather than, I know that there's an investigation, whatever, substantiation where there's a difference between somebody harassing another and actual assault on somebody, and that's what I want to see.
Okay.
What was it?
Any other questions for the superintendent?
I just have one.
Yes, sir.
Why is work release shut down?
The staffing levels, we didn't have a lot of inmates that was on the program for a long period of time. And since our staffing levels was down, I felt it was maybe a priority to I shifted folks around to get them over to HR because I knew we was going to do this mass hiring. And I needed that support over in HR because they couldn't handle the volume of people. So we had, probably 17, 18 staff over there for 4 or 5 inmates. From a business standpoint, it didn't make sense. But I do, my intention is to bring it back. I just needed several months just to get this hiring thing off so we can get our staffing levels, kind of more solid and stuff like that. Yeah.
Understood.
Any other question for the superintendent? All right. Thank you. How about a budget report?
Right. We'll start on page 46. Happy to report that we did get over the hump and end our fiscal year on June 30th. However, these are preliminary results because we still have not finished doing our year-end closeouts, accruing back some of the expenditures that come in during the month of July, and some of those year-end audit adjustments that need to still go in the system. So these are preliminary, and I will bring back the final once we have those results as well. But in terms of revenue, we ended the year, those numbers are fairly solid. We have very small amounts to adjust there. And we will finish the year with that excess revenue that we've had anticipated throughout the year of about 1.3 million. And that is just a result of our budgeted state compensation board revenue being slightly lower than we actually received in. We did adjust that revenue figure up in the FY26 budget cycle, so we should not see those surpluses going forward. The city of Manassas ended the year with a utilization rate of 10.8. So as expected, that is lower than the budgeted 13.5% rate. So we will be returning some money to city of Manassas. Looks like it's about $1 million right now, but again, that's based on some estimates in that calculation that once we have final, I will true up. On the expenditure side, preliminary results have our actual spend at about 95.8% of the total budget. So that's a savings of approximately 2.7 million. However, I did want to highlight that we had 3.7 million in salary vacancy savings, which was expected. But that 2.7 overall surplus is an indicator of our operating expenditures that are outside of that salary and benefits detail, actually falling short by about $500,000 at the end of the year. I've always, since I've been here, been requesting some of that shortfall from the county in terms of budget, and I haven't been successful thus far. We're going to try again next year. I'll continue to project out and make sure that we're covered on the operating side. Things are very, very tight there. But until we fill our seats and that surplus in the salary section kind of goes away, the county kind of doesn't take that as seriously as they will need to once we do not have those vacancy savings. So just wanted to highlight that for the board. In terms of vacancies savings, as Colonel West said, we have had some luck, mainly after the end of the fiscal year. We ended the fiscal year, unfortunately, pretty net even on our salary levels. An actual change of 0. We added 0 when you do both sides of the staff coming in versus staff leaving. So we are starting to see some of the fruits of the labor from recruitment, as he mentioned, in July, but just wanted to highlight that the 2025 results ended with that that vacancy level still being what it has been in the past. Although on the civilian side, I think we were a little more successful in 25. We did fill 4 of our really hard to fill medical mental health positions. So that's a big deal for us on the civilian side because those are very, very hard to fill. So all in all, things are moving in the right direction on the salary side. In terms of federal billing, just wanted to highlight that we finished the year making a whopping $13,879 from federal billings. So we do not keep that many federal inmates in custody, obviously, but wanted to share that detail with you all. We don't have any current or planned Board of County Supervisors agenda items coming up. And then on the commissary side, and then again, this is preliminary as well. We have some lingering invoices coming in for the year that we're going to get booked. But again, we really always maintain a very conservative approach to spending commissary funding. That money is for the inmates. It's not intended to do anything operationally. So in terms of the budgeted $1 million expectation, we've spent just shy of half of that for the year. So we're glad for that. And then we always, again, look for opportunities in there to expand any programming or do anything that benefits the inmates with those funds. There were no items within your SOP guidelines to report on the commissary spend side that fell outside of the range or above that $2,500 threshold to report. I think that's pretty much it. If there's, I gave you guys a lot of detail on the commissary side, but happy to answer any questions you may have. And we ended the year with commissary cash balances of just over 2 million. That's where we've stayed pretty much throughout the year. The inmate trust accounts were holding 118,000 in inmate cash balances at the moment, and they spent just shy of 118. So money coming in, money coming out there on the inmate side. Any questions?
Who runs the commissary itself?
The commissary, we actually have an external contractor, Keefe, that handles all of our commissaries. So our warehouse staff internally takes in the orders from the inmates and does all of the accounting sort of system stuff with that. And then that file gets sent to Keefe. They fulfill the orders. So they sort of do the pick, packing, and shipping, if you will, that's brought into the warehouse. And then my warehouse staff distributes that to the inmates.
So if they're expired products, who would check on that?
Any of those, the inmates are able to flag, and our warehouse staff takes those back, and Keefe will refund us those. Occasionally that happens. It's not very often, but there are cases where we get refunds, and that happens immediately and gets credited back to the inmate's account. Yep. We try our best to police some of that, but it does happen.
Happens in Giants.
I know. These managers need to get on it, right?
Any additional questions?
Any other questions?
I have a question, but it's
Sure.
a really super generic one. If we wanted eventually to change the GTL system of communications that's in place now, where does that funding come from? Will we have to go to the
That is
board
a
to
commissary
do this?
contract. It's funded, it's a commissary. This board certainly has authority over that contract. We just renewed it though
Right.
for 5 years, so we are committed there, but you all certainly have the power of suggestion there to select or to engage in that selection process.
And
Yes.
but the money that funds it comes out of commissary.
It does, yes.
Any further questions? Well, thank you, Ms. Clay. Thank you. Let's move right along. We'll start with jail board members' comment. We'll start, Ms. Guzman, we'll start with you and come this way.
No comments. Excited about the interns and the experience that they're gonna get exposed to the law enforcement field. I think it's very important as we are investing in future generations, so we don't go through these vacancies and that money that had to be carried over. We'll have more people, interested in the field. So we look forward for you guys to have a great experience and come back, please, after you graduate. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Ms. Lennox?
A couple things. It was great to hear that the 4 mental health positions have been filled. Whoever said that out loud, has such a huge impact on the population, and therefore not only on the safety of the jail, but also the health of the larger community as these folks go back into their families and their neighborhoods later. Getting that mental health treatment here is such an enormous impact. Amazing work, Superintendent West, with the continuing work, strengthening the ADC through the recruitment processes you put in place. I mean, it's amazing. And engaging with the community in a way that I think, to just sort of reflect with a little bit of the commentary we had earlier, just solidifying the trust that the community already has in this jail by the way that you're going about your community engagement and the way that you're, like I said, making the jails more solid with the recruiting approaches that you've had. I would also just, I think it's important just because this is a public meeting, and there's been some concerns raised about some things. I think it's important just to say that we have talked a lot over the last several years about the way that we approach collaboration with federal partners, and that this jail already cooperates with ICE in cases of serious crimes. It's part of the policy that we adopted here years ago. Some of the things that that have been talked about, I spent some time doing kind of a dive into the letters that were sent here for us, because I think it's important that we take really seriously when the community has things to say to us, to a jail, as a jail board. And so I've looked fairly carefully at the information that you all sent us, and I will say, just approaching it from a place of curiosity and concern, I believe genuinely that the folks that have raised these things to us are genuine in their concern, care about their community. And things we might take up, they are already felonies that we automatically give notification to ICE for. When people cross the threshold of the jail, that screening does happen, and I just want to make sure the public knows that. It's not as though we're declining to take a look at those sorts of questions when people cross the threshold of the jail. All of the gang-related offenses that have been noted, they're already felonies, or at least the gang participation or recruitment, already felonies, already trigger notification. That's already happening here in this adult detention center. And then the last thing I would say is that as this happens quite often, some of the things that are referenced in terms of the dangerousness of the people that are released, I looked very carefully at the spreadsheet that was provided and went and looked at some of the code sections. It looks like there is really a very small percentage of this that are where it appears that maybe felonies, people who had felonies were released. The number I have is 5.8%, and half of those could be misdemeanors. It's unclear from the description, which would put you at 2.9% of releases, or where there was a detainer but it wasn't honored. I'm not really sure what that means, but I just wanted to point out the numbers are actually very, very small. They're 2.9% if these are those 5 are misdemeanors, 5.8% if they're not. And in addition, we really have no information about the actual, whether the individuals who were released actually have criminal backgrounds, like whether they actually are dangerous to our community. This comes up over and over again when we have these conversations. And I think we need to be really explicit and clear if we're gonna talk about these things, if we're gonna have public comment about them. I would want the statistics and the information to be very, very accurate and clear, because I think it is at times easy to make it a place of moral panic. And I think we need to make sure that if we're having these public conversations about it, that we're accurate about the things that we're talking about. And I think the jail has done a fantastic job of doing what this jail board's asked you to do back in 2020, and in protecting the community in doing it. And so I appreciate you, Superintendent West, for continuing on with what you've done. And that's all. Sorry, that was longer than perhaps I would ordinarily do, Sheriff, but I wanted to make sure, since we are public, that I put that out there.
I just want to echo what Tracy just said.
Please.
We went through extreme, painful debate and discussions in 2020 about this policy that we adopted then. We got statistics from the jail, and I remember that 74% of the detainers that were being turned to ICE were misdemeanor, that included things like driving under the influence without victims, without anybody hurt because they were driving under the influence. Domestic issues, which many of them were, resolved in court in an amicable way, driving negligently, transit offenses. So the statistics that were provided then by the then superintendent of the jail seems that there were very few actual felonies and a lot of things that trespassing, among other things, that, anybody can trespass inadvertently in another property. So taking all that into consideration, we crafted a policy that balanced the needs of a community, not breaking families. You know, what would happen to an American citizen that commit the same crime, and what would the consequences of an immigrant that commits the same crime while you serve your 30 days and you go home. Now you serve, if it's an immigrant that commits the same misdemeanor, you serve the 30 days and then you go to another country, family break apart. Most families are, mixed families where they are people that are residents, people that are not documented, people that are American citizens. You see the news every day. You see what's going on. So I don't have to repeat or bring anything that you are not seeing every single day out there on how ICE operates and how ICE uses due process. So understanding all that, we crafted a policy that balances the needs of a community, because we care for Prince William County. That's our community. The feds are the ones that enforce immigration law. They have all the resources in the world. They're using every single federal law enforcement agency in assisting them in enforcing law. They actually don't need us to do anything to enforce law. But even though as law enforcement, we cooperate, but in a balance where we can attend the needs of the community and attend the safety of the community. You know, Chief, that right now, people are not going to grocery stores, to events, to things, because they're really, really afraid of what's going to happen to them. And a byproduct of that is losing trust in the judicial system, in the police, and the police needs that trust in order to capture criminals. Victims are not reporting crimes because they are afraid that if they report somebody like a domestic abuse, inclusive, if I report my husband that had an altercation with me, we're going to break the family, so I rather not report it and go unreported and no crime was committed. That's not safety on a community. Safety on a community is that that person feels free to come to a police and said, I had an altercation with my husband. It wasn't, nobody got dead or anything like that. It was, but I want that person to, get a protective order, get this, get that, and go to a judge and get my release. I'm not going to believe her on that, but I think we have a great policy. And if we were to consider expanding it, I have to see a lot of data from the jail, not from the nation, from the jail, that justifies that expansion. And that's about what I have to say.
All right, thank you, sir. Mr. Costa.
I look forward to the resumption of the work release program. Just as a former defense attorney, I know that was a way that people could support their families while serving time, and I know you know that. And I respect the decision you made, but I look forward to it coming back when the time is right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Superintendent, I appreciate your staff doing all that hard work, getting people hired, vacancies, filling those, and bringing on your interns. That's always nice to see. And I really appreciate your branding of what your agency is going to look like and being out in the community. Barnes & Noble bringing that's a different idea. So that forethought of getting out in the community, it's nice to see you guys out.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief. Well, good. We've heard from our citizens tonight, and I will be calling members of the board, and we're talking about the information that we have here. Also, we'll talk to the superintendent, looking at the stats here, and see if we'll put it on the agenda for our next meeting and have a discussion to see if board members want to change our current policy. All right, but I want to make sure I get the stats from you and what we're doing. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to what's going on around the country. I concentrate on Prince William County because not only I'm elected in Prince William County, but we serve the community. So I think it's important for us to look at what we're doing in Prince William County. All right. Interns, I think I met you all today. Thank you for coming. I wish you all the luck. You're taking an extra initiative to come to the meeting to see what we're doing. I also invite you to make sure you ask a lot of questions to staff about what we do, because a lot happens at a local jail. Every jail is different, and I think Prince William is one of the best jails in the country. So you have an opportunity to learn a lot. All right. So lots of luck to you. Thank you for coming. All right. Good. Thank you. Superintendent, I want to also commend you on keeping your promise when you were appointed superintendent on filling those vacancies. It's not easy. It's a lot of jails, not only around the country, in our region, that having a difficulty having staff. And it looked like you're going an extra mile to get everyone that you can. And when you told me about, when I heard you say you may run 2 academies, I mean, I tell you, that's tough. And I'm quite sure you and your staff have a plan to do that. But I commend you on having, 30 people in the next class?
Yes.
That would probably be a record number of people in one class, right? 30?
I don't know.
I think 30 would be, that would be a record. Thank you.
That's
So
right.
I commend you and your staff for what you're doing. It's not easy, and you're doing a great job at it. So thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Good. All right. Again, thank you, member, for coming tonight. Thank you. And we will, I need a motion to adjourn.
Did you want to introduce council?
Oh, yes, council. Do you have anything? That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will
Do you
not
have
hold up.
anything for us?
I do not, sir.
No,
No.
you do not.
Nothing for the board tonight, but I'm glad to be here and look forward to continuing to work with you. If anybody has any questions at any time,
Right,
please don't
yeah.
hesitate to email.
Thank you. Lawyers always.
Good looking out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Tracy, need you next time here.
No, no.
So these people are gonna try it again.
Is it 100%? You heard it from